Well, good morning and welcome to day two, live with AI Virtual CES 2022, a series of virtual webcasts featuring industry experts and thought leaders on the topics of ADAS and autonomy, as well as virtual demonstrations of AEye's CES Innovation Award winning Foresight LiDAR, a solid state and software centric solution that adapts and optimizes its scan patterns in real time. Now, this webcast, both today and yesterday, is airing across all of AEye's social media channels, which includes Facebook and Twitter, also YouTube and LinkedIn. So you can follow AEye there on any of those social media platforms and get notified, or you can rewatch something that you may have enjoyed yesterday or that you didn't get a chance to see live. And then everything that you're seeing over the course of the last 2 days, everything will eventually be archived at a later date on AutoVision News. And good morning once again from a very snowy and cold Detroit. And it appears that the snow has given us some technical difficulties, but just on LinkedIn. So for our LinkedIn viewers today, if you notice that some of the interviews are missing or maybe lagging a little bit, we're just going to say that that's the blizzard in Detroit. But the rest of our social media platforms are running fine. We've got a whole great lineup of guests today and virtual driving demos. From yesterday, a lot of key topics discussed. Two of the big things came to people and technology. On our AutoVision News LinkedIn page right now, we have a pinned interview with Pam Simon of Manifest, one of our most favorite interviews yesterday. She talked about technology. She talked about people. So those were our key takeaways yesterday, is that, you can have great technology, and adaptive LiDAR most certainly is great technology. AEye's Foresight is great technology. But behind that technology has to be great people. And yesterday, after the broadcast, I mentioned that it's snowing here in Detroit. It's been snowing the last couple of days. My wife and my brother and I, after the broadcast yesterday, took off and just made a simple run to the grocery store. So we just live north of Detroit here. But it is a busy area. We live near 696. And so when you have, roads like 8 Mile and 9 Mile that intersect with 696, there gets to be a lot of traffic just right there off of the main thoroughfare. But that's also where the grocery stores are at and the restaurants. And so when you run errands and you do things, you're usually around busy traffic no matter the time of day. And here in Michigan, when you have snow, a lot of people are getting groceries and trying to stay in. So we were in that group last night. And the reason why this is interesting is because, just that simple trip to the grocery store, it's amazing when you really think about it, how much you really do adapt and improvise behind the wheel. So last night when we left, it was dark, of course. It was snowing. You had glare from the lights. We had a car that's, the windows weren't, the windows are fogging up and they're dirty from all of the salt. And you have, bumps in the road. You have cars that's, moving in and out of lanes. So it's really surprising when you think about it, how much you adapt and improvise. We do it and we don't even think about it. And that's part of the basis of AEye's Foresight platform, that if driving, in the words of Jordan Green, AEye co-founder, driving is such a dynamic process, and it truly is, even just running to the grocery store last night, such a dynamic process, then it stands to reason that you would have to have a sensor platform. You'd have to have something like Foresight that is equally dynamic, that is able to adjust on the fly, as it were. And so that gets to be the question. If we as humans, if we're going to trust the technology, we need to have a technology in our future cars that thinks and sees like us, but that technology has to be developed by great people. So those are the big two big key takeaways from yesterday. Joining us this morning to kick off the broadcast is Rick Tewell. Now, he's AEye's Chief Operating Officer. He joins the company from Velodyne LiDAR, where he served most recently as Chief Operating Officer. During his career, Rick has held progressively senior roles in both hardware and embedded software across industry-leading high-technology companies, including NXP and Freescale. He brings more than 30 years of engineering and operations experience, including 2 decades in automotive electronics. Here to talk about predictions for 2021, Rick Tewell. Good morning, Rick. Doing good. See, this is the snowstorm here in Detroit. Rick, I think your microphone may be muted.
Is
Can
it?
now see now I can hear you.
Can
See,
you hear me?
we're
No. Okay,
yep,
that's just weird.
yep, yep. All of the technical difficulties are going to get blamed on the snow today. It's really snowing here in Detroit. It's crazy. So yeah, now that I can hear you, now that I can see you, good morning to you, Rick, and thanks for joining us today on the broadcast.
Good morning, Carl. Good to be here.
So So, as we get going here, tell me a little bit about your role at AI. Walk me through the day to day. Walk our viewers through the day to day of your role at AI.
Well, my primary role is manufacturing. The chief operating role is to get the product built, get the product into a producible state. There's a variety of functions that are involved, from product engineering to the things that we would do, which is called DFX, design for manufacturability, design for cost, design for quality, design for whatever. And
Sure.
then drive that out to our manufacturing partners, and then scale as our customers require.
Sure, of course. Now, Rick, I know you've talked a lot about, working within the automotive ecosystem. Now, as your company, as AI has matured, what are some of the key takeaways that you've seen there working in the automotive ecosystem? Maybe some benefits or key insights that you've gained as AI has continued to grow. So for those of us who are watching on the live stream, some technical difficulties. I no sooner mentioned that snowstorm here in Detroit, and then we've got technical difficulties with Rick. Now
I'm
we've
sorry,
got
can you
him
hear that?
back. Yep, Rick, I can hear you
Great.
just fine. Like I said, it's this snowstorm. I'm telling you. So um, so yeah, I know we should take a sip of coffee here and we'll we'll regroup. But my question for you was that you've talked a lot in the past about working within the automotive ecosystem. Now, AI is a maturing and a growing company. There's no doubt about it. We've seen that all day yesterday in this broadcast. So, talk about some of the key insights that you have gained as AI has continued to grow and as you've worked within this automotive ecosystem.
Well, it's interesting. We talk a lot about auto grade. The industry talks about auto grade and what that means. And it doesn't just mean one thing, right? A lot of times people think it just means the environmental factor. Is it cold? Is it hot? There's vibration, there's moisture, there's corrosivity,
Yes.
there's all of these things with auto grade. But auto grade also means auto grade parts, auto grade manufacturing. It means functional
Hmm.
safety. It means long-term availability of parts. It's about the maturity and ruggedization. And so when you are building a LiDAR, working in an automotive ecosystem and working from the ground up to build a product that is for automotive, allows you to get access to all of those things. You have to have that mindset to begin with, and that translates incredibly well to the industrial mobility markets, which would also benefit greatly from all of those things, right? If you're going to have a LiDAR on a train, if you're going to have a LiDAR on a boat, if you're going to have a LIDAR on a piece of equipment, if you're going to have it at a traffic intersection, it needs to be rugged,
Yes.
just like it would be in a car. And a car is a very harsh environment. And of course, the advantages because of cost. So there are, and then, when you look at the feature needs, all of that comes from this automotive ecosystem to operate and work in. It's very virtuous cycle of being able to leverage uh, this our partnership, our automotive customer.
Rick, we've got just a slight delay there, but what you're talking about, makes sense. Now that I've now now that I've got you back again, can I have you just summarize that last part for our viewers? Again, just some technical difficulties here with the snowstorm.
the feature sets of having automotive um, that are you bring automotive the ecosystem, right, is just it's a virtuous cycle. It allows you to create a better product, very cost advantageous, and it just travels across your entire customer base. So we believe that we benefit greatly from working in them from the beginning, and then being able to create just a fabulous product.
Right. Now, Rick, it's been quite a year now with COVID, and then obviously all of the supply chain headlines. We're at the beginning of a year here, brand new year in 2022. So how do you see it playing out now this year? COVID, supply chains, what are your insights and thoughts there for going forward this year?
Yeah, COVID uh, has been, a big issue for everyone. It's as an industry we're learning with kind of, in measuring, we leverage our supply chain, and we leverage that heavily, and it is a chain, right? So it is a chain of suppliers, and in some way it's a lot more like a large beautiful tree. You have sub-assemblies that are made of many parts, including glues and screws. The assemblies are made of sub-assemblies, and your supply chain is only as strong as your weakest link. And so in areas of criticality, are we, it's interesting. I've been checking my internet. My internet is strong here. I'm not quite sure what's happening. Can you hear me okay, Carl?
I can hear you loud and clear now. Loud and clear now. Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Yeah. So and the supply chain is only a strongest link. So it's a criticality. There are things that we have to do. For example, maybe you double or triple the links. And so, but we have great suppliers. We have great manufacturing partners. COVID has affected them all, some to greater extents than others over the last few decades, which is this just-in-time inventory, right? And so with just-in-time inventory, now you're going to,
And I apologize to our live stream viewers for the technical difficulties. I'm not able to hear Rick anymore. So we will try to get him back. But what Rick was talking about is that obviously, there's COVID and there's supply chain disruptions.
half of 2019 was
And we did lose Rick there. So, like I said, we've had a crazy snowstorm here in Detroit. So we're going to recap here. We will have the ability at some point to catch back up with Rick. We're going to regroup here at the AI Command Center and see if we can get Rick back on the line. In about 15 minutes or so, just as part of our normally scheduled programming, our next live stream is set to begin at 8:30 Pacific and then at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So we've got a virtual driving demonstration lined up, and then we also have my experience inside the AI Shadow Van when the AI Shadow Van was here in the Detroit area a couple of months ago. So we will catch up with you in the next live stream. You can follow us on all of AEye's social media channels, including Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. We will try to get Rick back on the line, and we will catch up with you soon, live with AEye Virtual CES 2022.